Hi, my name is Joseph, and today I want to do a review for Chapter 1 of Digimon Seekers. So today's officially the final day, or rather last Sunday was the final day of Chapter 1 of Digimon Seekers, Eiji Wolf of the Ninth Avenue. So the reason why my review is coming out on a Sunday instead of a Monday is because it's been announced officially that today's Chapter 2 Part 1 will not be coming out at its usual time. It's going to be coming out at 12 p.m. Japanese time, which is much further ahead for my time zone. For reference, right now it's barely about 12:25 a.m. In Japan. So I'm going to go ahead and do the review today instead of on Monday, and tomorrow the hopefully summary and analysis for Chapter 2 Part 1 will be up. So Chapter 1 is over. What do I feel? How do I feel about it? So I'm not going to lie. This is my first light novel, and I am a little bit caught off guard with the way Chapter 1 ended. I do think that maybe one or two more parts should have been included just to either situate the two new characters, Leon Judge, who, by the way, the Seekers is not yet connected that they're the same individuals. One has to infer that, because obviously Postmon belonged to Judge when he was first introduced. And then at the last part, we're talking about Leon Alexander, whose partner is Postmon, so obviously he's Judge. But then also, in addition to that, we got the introduction of Shu Yulin, the leader of the Digipolice. And I do feel like either they should have been left for Chapter 2, and we should have ended Chapter 1 after Eiji's escape from the Digipolice. So ending it at Part 17, I believe it was, instead of Part 18. But maybe that's how light novels typically operate. Again, this is my first time reading any kind of light novel, and the only manga experience I have is with Berserk. And I did read a little bit of Attack on Titan at the start, and then I caught up again around the middle time, towards the end of that run. So I only have two mangas under my belt, is essentially what I'm trying to say. So again, maybe that's how it typically operates in light novels. With that being said, though, even though I'm not entirely satisfied with the way that Chapter 1 ended, I am enjoying Chapter 1, or rather I am enjoying Digimon Seekers in general. I'm really appreciating, I've already said this in all my videos, but I'm really appreciating the characterization that's being done. Again, multiple times it's been stated that Eiji is one way, but in actuality, one way, what way is that? He's a little bit naive, dumb, quote unquote dumb, and so forth, right? But a lot of characters, not just the audience, is realizing that Eiji's maybe a little bit more than what meets the eye, right? Kind of really reminds me of a character from The Color Purple, Alice Walker's novel, The Color Purple. I probably have mentioned this before, but there's a character named Silly, who everyone states is stupid, but in reality, she's quite astute and has some critical thought under her, or rather, she has some critical thought practices that allows her to self-reflect. But yeah, even though we don't have much information about Leon Judge or Shu Yulin, their introduction was quite fun. I'm looking forward to discovering more about them, especially about Leon Judge, because again, it's been stated in Chapter 1 that apparently Leon and Eiji used to be friends. And also, I'm really curious as to who Leon's mentor is. I'm thinking it might be Professor Ruzenji, or maybe it's another mentor figure we're going to see as the story continues. If the mentor is Professor Ruzenji, I'm really excited about that. That really helps streamline Eiji and Leon working together on the same side. I do believe by the end of the story, I don't think we have any antagonists quite yet, and they haven't been reviewed. I do not believe that the SOC or Sons of Chaos or Tartarus, the leader of that group, I do not believe that they're the antagonists, nor the interviewer with his Digimon Doromon. Once the real antagonist is revealed, I believe that Eiji, Leon, the Digipolice, and even the Sons of Chaos will end up working together. But that's what I believe is going to occur. I might be wrong about that. We'll see in the future. But I do believe that Eiji and Leon will be working together. And I think that's going to be really cool. I would love to see some further interactions with Eiji and other humans, not just Digimon. I am appreciating his interactions with Professor Ruzenji and unfortunately, I believe her Hatsumi. I think that's Satsuki's last name actually. But the receptionist from about Part 2. part three. I love those interactions that he had with them. I think that was really fun, especially with the professor. So I would love to see how Eiji interacts with other non-Digimon, other individuals who are not chasing after him, right? The Digi-Police. That's one can't really have a conversation when the other group is trying to arrest you. So that should be fun, or at least I think it will be fun. I'm also looking forward to seeing how Satsuki is going to react with everything. She's obviously quite heated up, quite passionate about what's going on right now because of the fact that Nunimon was injured by Logormon. But I'm looking forward to seeing how she's going to remedy that, because again, I do believe they're going to end up working together. They being the Digi-Police with Eiji, and maybe even the Sons of Chaos. So far, I don't think any of the characters are annoying or underdeveloped. I think the Bandai Namco and the writers, there's no specific writer, unfortunately, that's been listed for Digimon Seekers. Again, I know I say this a lot, but I think they are doing an adequate job, more than adequate, with the world building and the setting up of the characters as well. Would I recommend reading Digimon Seekers? Yes, I really would. Again, what makes this property so awesome, or rather what makes this specific property from this franchise so awesome, is the fact that it keeps evolving, it keeps changing. There was a manga in the past, but that wasn't really explored again. There's the anime, of course, the video games, the toys with the Vital Bracelet and the actual V-Pets. And now we have something that we could actually read, a light novel. I'm not going to lie, I am biased. I do enjoy my books, my literature. I'm hoping that this is the first step to an actual Digimon novel, but I know I'm probably, those are probably too much of a dream. But I am really loving this light novel concept, and I do know that it's supposedly going to last for a year, but I'm really hoping that Bandai continues with this written format, either with another light novel, maybe a sequel to Digimon Seekers, or a new property. But I know I'm really getting ahead of the gun right here. I'm already talking about what a sequel. We just finished chapter 1, right? I'm just a little bit too excited, I suppose. But yeah, if you have been reading Digimon Seekers, please let me know. Are you enjoying it? Are you reading it every week the way that I have been, or are you have you waited until the whole chapter has been released to further to finally we'll get on the wagon of the of Digimon Seekers. Not the wagon, I'm sorry, that sounds negative. To get on the train, the fun train that is Digimon Seekers. Just would I recommend Digimon Seekers? Yes, I really would. Typically my review videos, I'll end it at this point, but this is a little bit of a different video because again, these usually come out on a Monday, but because Digimon Seekers has been postponed for quite a lengthy time, I'm also going to include some news information here as well. So what's also really exciting now that chapter 1 is over is that more than likely the Bandai Namco is going to announce new BE straps as well. So we just got the Eiji Linker strap bundle that contained the blue strap with the Logomon BE card. And more than likely today they being Bandai Namco, they're going to announce an additional bundle. So that should be exciting. I am curious so obviously with the recent part, we shifted perspectives with Shu Yulin and to Leon Judge. I did state this in one of my other parts already, but I am really hopeful that Eiji is still going to be the protagonist, and we're going to continue following Eiji primarily. I don't mind that the story shifts through other perspectives, but again, I do hope that the focal point will still be Eiji. I suppose a really good example of this would be if one has seen Digimon Adventure, the original. Imagine if instead of following the whole group, it just followed one specific group. I'm going to let my bias show, so I'm going to say Yamato or Matt. And if it only followed Yamato and Matt when he was separate from the group, the camera always just focused on him while ignoring the rest of the children. It's kind of like that, but vice versa. We only have one character, but there are other cast of characters as well. And I'm hoping that the focus continues to stay with Eiji. I don't mind if the focus expands out, but as long as the focal point is still on Eiji. The reason why I say that's just because I have read other properties where there's multiple protagonists, not multiple protagonists, excuse me, but rather, there's one lead protagonist with support characters as well. A really good example of this would be George R.R. Martin's Game of Thrones or A Song of Ice and Fire series, and also, I'm having a lapse of judgments. James S.A. Corey. for The Expanse and Ty Frank. For The Expanse, they do have a main character, but the perspective constantly changes from that character. And it goes back to that main character to continue the main narrative, but the perspective is always changing. I'm fine with those kind of storytelling, but I much prefer it when the story just focuses on one protagonist. It just follows one either character or group of characters. And a good example of this would be like the Harry Potter series or the Lord of the Rings series, right? There's multiple characters, and sometimes these groups of characters, especially in Lord of the Rings, they go into different settings, but there's always going to be a set of characters that the story primarily follows. Doesn't mean that the rest of the characters are not as important. It's just that they're helping to heighten the story. But again, the focal point is Frodo and Sam, Harry from Harry Potter, and then so forth, as I was saying. So hopefully that makes sense. If it does not, please do let me know. I am looking forward to Chapter 2 and looking forward to how that's going to be operating as well. If that's going to be like the first chapter, that's going to be like the first week of Chapter 1, where every day a part was released, or if it's just going to be a weekly thing like the way that it's been done, the way that it's been established after the first week. Personally, so I do have two thoughts about that. Since I am making videos, personally, I'm hoping it won't be weekly. I'm hoping it won't be daily. Sorry about that. I'm hoping it will be weekly, not daily. But as a Digimon fan, I am hoping it will be daily, not weekly. So it's not the best of both worlds, but rather the conundrums of both worlds, right? I don't want to make videos every day, but I do want to read Digimon every day. So yeah, I'll end this video. So again, I do recommend reading Digimon Seekers. It is a fun read so far. The world building is great. The characterization is done well. I did that mince just because I won't lie, the translation is wonky. So one may have noticed with following my videos with me that I don't really talk about the translation unless I need to, unless because my analysis, I feel like maybe something else was stated. I don't really like to talk about the translation because I just feel like that's a little bit too superficial. Obviously, since there are going to be translation issues that will affect the story and the way that the story flows as well. But again, I don't think the translation is wonky enough that one is lost. Excuse me, that was a hiccup. It is true a couple of times one does need to reread a sentence or a paragraph to fully grasp or comprehend what's being stated. But once one has done that, it's obvious where the story is going. Well, what I'm trying to say here is that although the translation could be better, the translation is not bad. And as an individual who has done translations in my academic career when I was a student, I do know the difference between a bad translation, a decent translation, and a really efficient, well-done translation. An example of a well-done translation would be the fan translation. Unfortunately, I'm not reading along with that. I probably will now that Chapter 1 is over, so I don't know the name of that individual off the top of my head. But their translation is much more efficient, easier to follow along with. And I would argue that Bandai Namco's translation is just in the middle. It's not great. It's not the best. It's serviceable. It does what it needs to. It does what it needs to do. With that being said, though, hopefully Bandai Namco, they'll see that there is an interest in Digimon Seekers, and they'll realize, hey, I think it'll be worth it to spend the funds on hiring an actual translator, an English translator, and yeah. So. Hopefully that makes sense. So again, if you are reading Digimon Seekers, let me know if you have any plans to continue. If you're going to stop because you've read the chapter, you're going to wait for Chapter 2 to fully drop and then read that. Or yeah, what are your plans? Thank you so much for listening. I hope you have a prodigious day and take care.